you. And Secretary of State John Kerry calls this a pivotal moment for all Egyptians. And the question here at home this morning, what does the bloodshed mean for the U.S. and our relationship with Egypt? President Obama is vacationing on Martha's Vineyard, and that's where Major Garrett joins us from. Major, good morning.
Well, good morning, Nora and Charlie. President Obama is reviewing all options to send a new signal of his displeasure to the Egyptian military rulers. The Pentagon has recommended canceling upcoming military exercises with U.S. and Egyptian forces. White House aides say the president has not yet decided if this or stronger measures are required to get Egypt's attention. Up until the last moment, the United States urged the Egyptian military to avoid bloodshed and was ignored. With President Obama golfing during his Martha's Vineyard vacation, it was left to Secretary of State John Kerry to express outrage and plead again for political compromise.
Egyptians inside and outside of the government need to take a step back. They need to calm the situation and avoid further loss of life. Violence is simply not a solution in Egypt or anywhere else. Violence will not create a roadmap for Egypt's future.
The turmoil in Egypt starkly illustrates the limits of U.S. power.
The United States probably has less influence in Egypt now than any time in decades, but that reflects U.S. influence throughout the region at the moment and potentially around the world.
Amid fears that Egypt could be headed towards civil war, the U.S. must also worry about Egyptian control of the Suez Canal and the Camp David peace accords with Israel. Republicans like Senators John McCain and Lindsey Graham, recently back from Egypt as emissaries of the White House, have criticized Mr. Obama for refusing to call military-led ouster of the democratically elected government of the Muslim Brotherhood leader Mohamed Morsi a coup. The Egyptian military abandoned political talks last week. That increased White House anxiety, a sentiment former Bush National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice shared recently in an interview with Charlie Rose.
I will tell you, I'm very worried that, in fact, that's not what the Egyptian military has in mind. When I see them putting their own pictures on the wall, I'm worried that they don't have in mind the immediate return to civilian leadership.
Senator McCain, in an interview with the Wall Street Journal, called administration policy in Egypt a, quote, colossal failure. And he called for the end immediately of $1.5 billion in annual military and financial aid to Cairo. White House aides, though, fear eliminating that aid would stop all leverage Mr. Obama has with the Egyptian military government. Leverage that, in the aftermath of this bloodshed, though, is very difficult to measure. Charlie and Nora.
Major, this is a serious issue for the United States. Why didn't the president himself speak out?
Because he's on vacation and because for the last couple of weeks, Charlie and Nora, the White House has deferred to Secretary of State John Kerry and the State Department to be the chief spokespeople for the administration on Egypt and the chief negotiators with the Egyptian military. That has not worked out so far. There are no indications here in Martha's Vineyard. The president intends to speak about this today or tomorrow or for the remainder of his vacation.
The second question I would ask quickly is, when they consider serious measures other than withholding aid, what might it be?
Well, there are a lot of options. Financial aid is by far the number one and most visible way the United States could punish Israel. But as I said, the White House really believes that if they take away that aid, all conversations with the Egyptian military going forward end and all leverage disappears. There are other things the United States could do as far as international monetary forums, loans and things like that. But the aid, $1.5 billion, is the biggest cudgel the administration has, and it doesn't yet appear to want to use it.
Major, thank you so much.